Hello again, heretics. It seems like Gina Carano has been dubbed as too hot for Twitter. At first I thought maybe me and the Puritan powerhouse known as Twitter actually agreed on something, but that's not what they meant. Apparently her account has been marked as sensitive content in an attempt to keep people from following her or viewing her content. For those of you who may not be aware, Gina Carano was recently released from her place on The Mandalorian. She shared a tweet about how Nazis turn neighbors against neighbors. It expressed how it's wrong to other people to dehumanize them. And apparently, Puritans took offense to that. Apparently, talking about Nazis is just going too far for them. And as we all know, our dear Puritans, off in their own galaxy far, far away, are far above ever calling somebody a Nazi. They would never do that.
Who was the woman in the Mandalorian? What did she do? She liked something?
She was a Nazi.
Oh, that's different,
Yeah.
right? I'm thinking of somebody else. Well, she's not a Nazi.
She's a white. She's
Look at
involved
that.
in
You
white
say you're calling her in
supremacy.
that.
And so, after her release, a lot of people came to her defense. A lot of people followed Gina Carano. She started becoming very popular, and I have no doubt this is Twitter's attempt to stymie that popularity. To learn more, we're once again turning to Bounding into Comics. An article written by Spencer Bakuli. Twitter adds sensitive media warning to Gina Carano's account to protect users from violent, hateful, or adult content. I, for one, can tell you there is no adult content on Gina's Twitter. Believe me, I've looked. But that's okay. Don't feel bad for me. I can always Google her Maxim pictures. Here is an image of what new viewers might be greeted with. It says, "Caution, this profile may include potentially sensitive content." You're seeing this warning because they tweet potentially sensitive images or language. Do you still want to view it? Spencer writes, given that the actress has never posted anything that could even be remotely considered violent or adult, one can assume that her account was penalized under Twitter's restrictions on hateful content, which promotes the sharing of any logo, symbol, or image that has the intention to promote hostility against people on the basis of race, religious affiliation, disability, sexual orientation, gender or gender identity, or ethnicity or nation of origin. Now, I for one don't understand how saying that you shouldn't dehumanize your neighbors is hateful. If anybody can explain that to me, I'd be happy to listen. I find this policy very interesting given how many bad tweets I've seen during my time on Twitter. Things much worse than anything Gina ever said. Like I said, I have no doubt this is done to try to stop people from following her Twitter. Now, this sensitive content marker came after she made her post about how it's wrong to dehumanize your neighbors. And here it looks like we have a definition of hateful imagery. Let's see here. Symbols historically associated with hate groups. Okay, understandable. Images depicting others as less than human. Well, what's the problem? She said you shouldn't depict people as less than human. Then images altered to include hateful symbols or references to mass murder. I don't recall seeing any of that on her account. So what could she have posted that angered so the great pillar of Puritanism that is Twitter? The author explains here. At the time of Twitter's marking, the most recent post in Carano's feed were 2 retweets, one from comedian Larry the Cable Guy. If I had a social media platform, that might get you banned. And another from retired MMA fighter Tim Kennedy. Though all of these posts criticized the proposed implementation of COVID-19 vaccination passports, none of them featured any hateful content. Well, as we know right now, any disagreement at all with anything being done to prevent COVID from spreading is considered to be a crime against humanity. You can't question anything the government's doing. In fact, I'm willing to bet the only questioning allowed, really, is why isn't the government locking down more? Why aren't we wearing 2 masks instead of just 1? I, for one, am not very excited with the idea of anytime I go anywhere, I have to present my papers. Gasp! She posted a joke. No, it's actually a really cool picture of Biden. I like this picture. But it says, "Get in, loser. We're going to tell everyone voter ID laws are racist, then try to make a COVID passport." I can't imagine this joke hurting my feelings. Whether you agree with this or not, you have to admit there's humor there. There's some irony there. Larry the Cable Guy put up a picture from the Weather Channel saying, "Protect your COVID-19 vaccination card. Your COVID-19 vaccine card could be your ticket to freedom. Be sure to safeguard it." Don't worry about what Larry said. Worry about what the Weather Channel just said. That's scary on its own right. You would think they would pick some better words to make that sound not quite so dystopian. And then she retweeted Tim Kennedy's saying, "This is a dystopian nightmare. You don't get to use freedom as a carrot. You don't get to incentivize me with freedom. I'm not free because the government says I'm free. I am free." God, what a horrible person. What an evil, vile thing to say. My God, in some ways I can picture disagreeing with this, that you think that everything the government wants to do is necessary to stop the spread of COVID. That's fine. I can give you that. I can understand that argument. But how can you look at this and think this is like an evil thing to say? This is not something said with malicious intentions. Given the sharp divide between her feed and the general accusations leveled against her by Twitter's sensitive media policy, it should come as no surprise that, as of writing, the exact content which resulted in her account being marked as sensitive remains unclear. In other words, they still have yet to prove why they did it. But you know what? They don't need a reason. They don't need to explain themselves, right? They don't have to explain why they pick and choose who they're going to throw this mark on. I have a feeling that this status is going to be reserved for people of a very specific political persuasion. Bizarrely, in addition to making her account as sensitive, Twitter also restricted the display of a tweet made by the actress which shows hands of various ethnicities and genders locked in unity, making the image as potentially sensitive content. There, you can see it down here, right? Look, oh my God. Oh yeah. Who would find this as a horrible thing? Who would look at this and think, "Oh my God, Gina is a dangerous person, she must be stopped"? Oh, don't get me wrong, she is dangerous. She could probably beat me up easy, which is kind of hot, but no, I'm trying not to go there. Spencer finishes up by saying, in response to these actions being taken against her account, Carano posted a selfie saying it's sensitive content as a way to poke fun at Twitter's dishonest accusations. Oh, oh my God. Gina, you don't know how much I love redheads. Why, this is sensitive content. And that does it for this article. This caught my eye because I find it very interesting how much people are going out of their way to try to silence Gina. I think her being released brought cancel culture to the forefront of politics, of what people are talking about. And I don't think that Puritans like their number one weapon being exposed like this. If you don't think like us, you don't get to have a job, you don't get to have a voice, you don't get to speak on social media. These are people who don't understand the dangers of letting corporations control free speech. And they'll tell you it's okay if corporations do it because they're not the government. Well, heck, in the government, we elect our leaders and they're still corrupt. Could you imagine if corporations had full control over that? I remember a time when we used to scream that it was wrong for a company to fire somebody for saying that they think they should have a union. Today, would we tell that person, well, sorry, that's a consequence of your free speech? I don't think so. Once upon a time, if somebody said something you didn't like, you just didn't talk to that person anymore. I mean, that's a personal freedom. You can walk away from people. You don't have to deal with them. However, this is a dangerous road that we're starting to go down. Well, I shouldn't say starting. It's been happening for a while now. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we want a society where everybody has to act exactly the same or be cast out. For those of you who stuck through, listened all the way to the end, thank you very much. I know your time is valuable. Thank you for spending it listening to my thoughts. I'll see you again next time I've got something else to talk about. Cheers.